Hello, Lenora here again. As you may be following these videos that I'm going to do weekly, I'm going to try to get a few done each week. Earlier, the Lord gave me a title of what to talk about today. That was contentment. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I could say this, I can say that. And then I finally get the time to sit down and make the video, and now I'm like, what was I going to say? So it proves the Father's point of no preparation. Just completely leaning on His Spirit to bring the message. All He's giving me is a title. So I get my one little talent, and now I'm going to multiply it the best way I can through His Holy Ghost. But it was interesting earlier, He was giving me that one word. And I don't know about you all. Some of you out there who could be watching this are experienced prophets, and you know how one word from the Father can send you on days, if not years, of adventure. He can say one word to my spirit, and it just overtakes me, it just fills me, it's amazing. It really is amazing. But when He said contentment, that is something that I am being put through the test right now. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty darn experienced when it comes time to talking about just the word contentment. What I've come to find out, and it has not been an easy walk to find this out, is my contentment is not going to be found in this world. My contentment is not going to be found in the people I know. It's not going to be found in my work. It's not going to be found in anything in this life. True contentment. A lot of people believe, well, you know, once the Lord returns and He takes us up to heaven, then we'll finally be at peace and we'll finally be content. Well, the Lord is showing me how to be content here on earth before we get to heaven. And that contentment that I've come to find out is found in Him, in Jesus, in the Father, in the Holy Ghost, in His presence. Okay, so I can use some examples. One example is my job, where I work at. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, and by all means don't let this fool you, just because you see CEO or founder beside my name, it really means nothing. I'm really a humble person. Pretty basic, pretty simple. And I work at a restaurant as a grill cook. I've been praying and crying out to the Lord, Lord, I need a new job. This place is driving me insane. It's driving me batty. But you see, the Lord has other plans for me, and that is to keep me humble. That is to keep me in a spirit of humility constantly. You know, I can cry out to the Lord all day, all night, but the fact of the matter is, He has me right where He wants me. And I will call them back later. And it took a lot of me struggling and battling to realize I need to learn how to be content and lean upon His strength in the midst of everything I dislike. Because you'll find out, in this world, you're going to be faced with many troubles, many battles, like I've said in other videos. Those are created and designed to keep you running back to the Lord, leaning on the Lord. And let me clarify something. If life was perfect, if you had the perfect house, or if you had the perfect car, husband, wife, ministry, would you cry out to the Lord as much? Would you want to seek the Lord for His strength and His guidance and His Spirit, His presence? Probably not. because you already have all that you need. And I will say that these situations that we encounter in life are designed for us to realize how much we need the Lord. And life is not perfect, and He did not promise us a perfect life, a perfect problem-free walk. It's like many of the ministers we have today, television, various other places, they make these crazy promises. You sow into my ministry and you'll be completely content. You'll be illness-free. You'll be debt-free. You'll be prosperous. You won't encounter or experience any problems. That is so far from the truth. I am a living example to you today. That is so far from the truth. The Lord did not promise us a life that was problem-free. He promised us His presence and His Spirit and His strength and His guidance down paths of righteousness through all of our problems. That is what He promises us. And through all of His promises and His presence and us leaning on Him and not our own, that is where we find contentment. That is where we can be at peace with this lot in life that we have been given. A lot of us battle with their life looks better than ours. The grass is greener on that side of the road. Why can't I be as anointed as that person? Why do I have to struggle when it looks like that person is not struggling? Let me tell you something. And before I say this, I do not want to be judged. Okay, and I know there's some people out there still going to judge me. But I tell you what, I do not want to be judged by the people that I have prophesied to. But I have prophesied to governors, movie producers, actors. And it doesn't matter where you stand in this world, what your title is, how much importance or fame that you have. They still struggle with the same thing, and that is contentment. Being at peace with who you are. You could have all the money in the world. You could be the most famous person in the world. But unless you are content and complete through Jesus Christ, it means nothing. So that's why, one of the reasons why the Lord speaks, especially, on behalf of, since I've been brought here to this part of the conversation, that the rich will not get into the kingdom. Because anything you put before the Lord, anything you idolize and put before the Lord, that's not going to work. You got to keep Him front, center, your focus straight on Him. He has got to be your all. He has got to be your lifeline. He has got to be your driving force of what gets you through all your trials. And what gives you contentment and peace and who God created you to be. He's giving me other examples right now, but I'm going to ask Him to hold it in the Spirit and bring it to my remembrance, because He's also telling me right now that there's going to be a part 2 to this. But the question is, what is contentment? How do we get it? And what's so great about it? Well, contentment is not coveting what your brother or sister has. Contentment is, this is who I am, this is who God made me to be, and this is what I got to work with. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this out for part 1. And I'm going to be figuring out how to tie the 2 parts together, that way you don't have to hunt them down. Because there's nothing worse than trying to, watch something on YouTube. It's broken up into like 10 parts and you lose part 2 or 3. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this for part 1 and go ahead and start part 2 in just a moment. Be right back.